So go ahead. My question's for Drake. First, I want to say you're a really, really good speaker. I hope one day I'll be able to speak as well as you. I guess I want to start by asking, or just kind of saying that you talk a lot about proofs throughout your entire argument.
Right.
All of the proofs that you offer support kind of a deistic God. You use that word a few times too. But you brought up theistic God a lot. You went from saying that there's some kind of evidence for the beginning of the universe, and there's something should have started that, according to your position.
Right.
But once you say, well, what if something started it, you're done. There's really no way to go from maybe there's something to there's something that we know a lot of characteristics, specifically that we know that there's a something that created the universe, and we also know that it doesn't want us to abort babies. Like, how do you go from there's this something that is very vague, this vague concept, God or creator or starting or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
How do you go from this vague concept of somehow creating things to, there is a definite morality that it commands?
There is very well stated questions. I think you really undercut yourself saying you're not a good communicator. Let me say this, and I'm not trying to give you a short, quick answer. This deserves a lunch on me, so we'll do that sometime. My email is on this little sheet of paper in front of you. But I'd love to talk to you more about this. Let me just briefly attempt to skim across it. Nothing times nothing equals nothing. That's just the way it's always going to be. At some point, you have to include a something in there. And that something is what I'm suggesting supports the theistic worldview. Now, that doesn't just include the Christian worldview. That would include the Jewish worldview.
Define what you mean by theistic God for you?
Yeah, great question. When I am saying theistic God, one, I'm going back to that painter example. There is a painter and they're painting. The painting is the creation. The painter is God. So that's theism, 101 for you. Now, the way we get, and three major worldviews embrace theism: Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Okay? So that's what I've been using the title tonight. I'm sorry that I didn't have time to define all these things for you, but I just didn't feel like it was needed to with the limited amount of time. But I will say this: the reason that we know that there was some sort of creator designer is because the universe had a beginning, and at some point in existence came into existence. And even beyond that, inorganic became organic. And so you have to account for this. Again, you have to put a something somewhere in that equation. And so that something for me is the theist. And that's why I presented those statistics, probability, and just the sheer overwhelming size of the universe to you to show that this is a God-sized project, a God-sized miracle. There's really nothing else that can account for it.
You defined the theistic God, and you said that you just said that there's a painter, that these things support there being a theistic God, but again, you didn't really explain how you can go from the painter, which again is just a word. You're really not describing any of the characteristics of this painter at this point. Yeah. There's no evidence to support any of that.
That was the point of the presentation tonight. I hope it didn't put you to sleep. That there is plenty of proof and evidence that supports that there is a creator, a designer, an intelligent being that has caused all this to exist. And trusting in sheer chance and random processes does not account for the order that we see throughout the universe. So that was the evidence that I
understand that, like, if you don't really understand evolution and you think that you really think that it's random chance, it seems really impossible. But evolution is not random chance at all. And if you read, I'm going to everybody, if you really don't understand evolution, just read the first couple of chapters of The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins. It's beautiful. It'll really clear things up for you. But anyway, so I don't think that point's really valid. But
on a Dawkins perspective, you got to account for the universe and our
it does that.
Well, here's the thing. How it does that is to say that at some point we have some sort of seed planted on this planet that caused life to exist. So
No,
I assure you it does, and I've seen this myself.
Okay.
So when you look at Dawkins, and you wonder, why is he willing to say that surely, yeah, the evolutionary process began here by some sort of intelligent seed, as he called it, but yet he won't admit to the fact that it could be God as that intelligence
He
design.
really does not say intelligence seed anywhere in the selfish gene. Like he goes out of his way many times to emphasize that there's no intelligence in the whole process.
Brian, do we have that clip available? If you could find it, that'd be great, and that's only if Bob feels it would be pertinent to the discussion.
Is this the Dawkins clip?
Yes, it is.
Is this the one that, with, and?
It's from Ben Stein's Expel.
It's been so.
Easily the worst.
Talk
about out of context.
But I'm just telling you, that was verbatim, so you can say I didn't, but I have video evidence that he did.
Okay.
He's talking about the
The
Bible.
selfish gene he does it is
Sorry.
claim that there is a definite morality, and at the same time claim that people are doing things with a relative morality all the time. I mean, doesn't that contradict your point that there is an ultimate morality if it's very obvious that people are doing very immoral things and believing it, truly believing it, not trying to trick themselves into thinking it or choosing to believe that, for example, blowing up the World Trade Center is the right thing to do. They legitimately believe that what they were doing was right. How can you claim that there is one shared universal morality of mankind when all of the evidence supports the contrary? There are very wide range of different types of morality. How can you claim that any one of those is? And just the one other thing, and I'll be done.
We haven't got to your relative morality, which
Oh,
makes me feel like you're throwing out objections rather than questions now.
Well, atheism by definition is just a rejection of theism. So
Okay. Well,
yes.
then you're done. Yeah, we need questions here, not objections. We don't need opinions. We're looking for questions tonight.
I'm sorry.